Yo, welcome back to the channel, man. If you don't know who I am, my name is Rod, and I'm back with another reaction video. And in this video, we're going to be reacting to how police captured Colorado's smartest killer. Before we get to the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notification, all of the good stuff to support the channel. And without further ado, let's get right into the video.
This is the mother of 43-year-old Crystal Krug. In a few seconds, she's going to find Crystal's lifeless body inside this very garage.
Oh my God. Something you don't want to see as a parent, bro. I don't know what that feels like, but
And this is Daniel Krug, the man who killed her. He's heading in for another normal workday, just minutes after leaving his wife's lifeless body hidden in the garage of their own home.
Oh shit. Holy.
For the last 4 months, this man has been engineering the most calculated homicide plot Colorado has ever seen, creating fake identities, manipulating Crystal's children, and setting up the perfect scapegoat to take the blame. He believes his plan is bulletproof, that police will spend weeks chasing a ghost and eventually arrest someone else for the murder he committed. And despite nearly perfect detective work, his plan works exactly the way he intended.
Husband said there was a dude who's been stalking her and threatened to kidnap her. Oh my God. True. I was here before she attacked her.
Cutting edge chart trading feature and 300 plus indicators. You can now trade directly off the chart anytime, anywhere, delivering seamless trading across all platforms. The Iron Beam journey is supported by 24-hour trader support.
Just Phil. Oh, sorry, Hendrix.
Yeah, nice to
Very
meet
good
you.
to meet you. Talk to Detective Mike, kind of have
Yes.
an idea what's going on.
Yes.
This is Crystal Krug, months before her murder. She lives here with her husband, Daniel Krug, and their 3 children. Both Crystal and her husband are well educated and seem to have built a comfortable life together with their kids. But behind closed doors, something dark is happening that will destroy this beautiful family. All because Crystal's been dealing with a stalker obsessed with her, sending her constant threats and claiming to watch her every move. This officer is here to check her car for GPS trackers or anything that could explain how this stalker keeps finding her. In reality, the stalker is much closer than anyone could have imagined.
You can see like it's only the dirty second see blood marks, but like my street looks like this all the time. There's no one out there. Like I know the normal car.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he's following me from.
Okay.
Assume a tracker.
Well, nothing jumped out at me.
It's just a mess with me.
The officer continues searching the vehicle top to bottom, but finds nothing suspicious. So before leaving, he offers Crystal a few safety recommendations and reassures her that they'll keep looking into her case. Not long in the course of the investigation, Broomfield police receive another call. This time from Crystal's husband, Daniel, reporting a break-in at his home. An officer is dispatched to check things out. Unknowingly, this encounter will be the start of one of the most calculated murders the United States has ever seen.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, definitely. I'm Officer Chauncey.
I'm Dan.
Nice to meet you.
Johnson, nice to meet you. Now, as I pulled in, I saw someone run out, jump over my gate,
Okay.
and take off that way.
Got it.
I didn't think to call you until my wife got home recently, and we realized the spare key that we keep in the garage isn't there.
Okay.
According to
wait, so what you're telling me is you saw someone running out your house, jump over the fence, and to you it's just like, I'm not gonna call the cops. Come on, Danielle. That's some bullshit. You know that's just bullshit. Like that's just straight crap. You know that.
Daniel, the only thing that's gone is their spare house key. If someone stole that, it means they aren't done and might have plans to come back at some point. The officer advises Daniel to change their locks immediately while police look into who this intruder might be. What no one realizes tonight is that this is no random incident. It's the opening move in a plan that's been forming for months. And this break in is just step one. 9 days after Daniel reports the break in, his wife Crystal wakes up to another uneasy morning. For weeks now, she's been receiving strange, anonymous messages and a growing sense that someone out there has an eye on her. Until now, none of it had a name attached, but a faceless presence that kept getting closer. But today, that changes. As Crystal gets the kids ready for school, makes her morning coffee, and heads out for work, her phone buzzes. She glances at the screen and sees a name she hasn't thought about in more than 20 years. Jack Anthony Holland, a man she dated briefly as a teenager. The message is short, crude, completely out of nowhere. Hi, Crystal. It's Anthony. Hope it's okay I looked you up. I go to Boulder every few weeks and thought we could hook up. You game? At first, she didn't think much of it. The two last spoke years ago, and even then, he was harmless. So she ignores it and moves on. But the next day, everything changes. Are you there? You should say yes when I offer pity. Whatever. I saw your pics. You got fat. You should yourself. Saw you at the dentist today. Your license plate expired. Gotta fix that. Suddenly, Crystal's fear becomes reality, and she begins living with the terrifying possibility that she's being watched. And now, she's
That is a horrible way to live, man. Like you're constantly in fear that someone is watching you. That is such a weird way to live. And man, this life, you can just be sitting, I can just be sitting here. The next minute, I'm no more. God forbid that happens. But you never know. You never know, bro. At the end of the day, always pray, you know, pray for protection. You can also do your best, try to protect yourself and your family as well. And besides that, there's nothing you can do, to be honest, and which is not okay.
certain Anthony is the one who's been harassing her for weeks. She becomes hypervigilant, installs cameras around the home, dash cams in her car, and starts carrying a concealed handgun everywhere she goes. By late October, Crystal's barely sleeping. She keeps a spreadsheet of her stalker log, documenting every message she gets.
Bro.
Then, almost a month later, a new email from Anthony confirms her worst fears. This your husband? Drives like slow old lady. He needs to drive safe. The email comes with an attached photo showing her husband Daniel at his workplace. Now the stalker isn't just targeting Crystal. He's coming after her family. Crystal realizes she can't handle this alone, so she hires a private investigator to track down Anthony's addresses and digital history. Then, on Halloween night, she calls the police.
So, how can I help you tonight? What's going on? Yeah, so I have an ex from a very long time ago who has occasionally found me on social media, and it's never been an issue. So this month, I have received numerous text messages, and then today I got an email that is very threatening, and it escalated to the point that he took a recent picture of my husband at his work location. So the stalking is getting a little too aggressive at this point in time.
Okay.
So my last contact with this individual was 5 years ago, where I told him I was happily married. I had no interest in what he kept contacting me. He kind of blew things up and then blocked me. I blocked him, haven't heard from him since.
After explaining everything to the officer, she documents each detail and forwards the case to the department's investigative unit. Within hours, the file lands on the desk of Detective Andrew Martinez, a seasoned investigator who's worked some of Broomfield's toughest cases, including abductions and violent crimes. Martinez schedules a formal meeting with Crystal for the following week, hoping to get a clearer picture of what exactly is happening and who this Anthony really is. When she sits down with Martinez, the situation has already escalated far beyond what Crystal first reported.
So, I mean, like he saw like full pictures of family, of my kids. Like I locked down protocol real fast after this because it was pretty alarming.
Yeah.
Right, where he's like, "We're meant to be together," and my family loves that we're talking. I'm like, "Oh, you think that we're like in a relationship?" So I shut it down real hard. I said, "This is really creepy for me. You need to stop." And he got like real emotional, and then blocked me. I'm like, "Good." And I blocked him, and I'm like, and then I shut down Facebook entirely. The one development that I have, I did get the full blown report from the PI. Problem, and you'll see this in this report. There are tons of phone numbers associated with him. There are tons of addresses. He moves everywhere and between like 3 different states.
As Crystal walks the detective through her evidence, two details immediately stand out. First, her stalker isn't just texting her from random numbers. He's using multiple phone lines and different digital identities, finding ways to reach her even after she changes her information. Whoever this is, they're persistent, resourceful, and frighteningly determined. Second, her ex-boyfriend, Anthony Holland, is tied to several addresses and multiple phone numbers. Whether it's instability or an attempt to stay off the grid, it convinces Martinez that Crystal is dealing with someone who either doesn't want to be found or someone who's planning something far worse. With all of this in mind, Martinez wraps the interview with Crystal and begins the digital side of the investigation. He sends warrants to service providers, requesting phone records, email logs, and account information to track down the stalker. Unfortunately for Martinez, these companies will make a mistake that will soon prove deadly. While waiting for the digital evidence to come back, Martinez decides to follow up on something else. The garage break-in Daniel reported back in September when a stranger supposedly stole their spare house key. He brings Daniel in for a formal interview, wanting to know whether he's noticed anyone following him, but instead of clarifying things, Martinez is about to learn something far more unsettling about the Krug household. But before we get to that, 2025 is almost over, and we're falling into the same trap again, waiting for January 1st to start something new or learn a new skill. But here's the truth. You don't need a new year to make a new start. With that said, let's get back to Daniel's interview, where the detective is about to learn something troubling about the couple's marriage.
And I guess at what point did she tell you that he recontacted her this last time?
It was either November 1st or November 2nd. It was after she had got a picture of me at work that she brought me up to speed on that. Gotcha. Okay. And the first contact that he initially made with her was back on October 2nd. I guess why that month gap, do you think, before she told you? I'm sure she has mentioned to you that she and I are going through a rough patch on the rocks. So probably didn't seem that pressing until it was. Sure. And she didn't mention that to me, that you guys were having a rough time currently. Are you guys in the process of separating, getting divorced, or working through things? To be determined. My brother Matthew is a cop, so I have a retractable asp steel baton. Yeah. As I said, not right now, but otherwise, it's on me all the time. I sleep with it next to me. I've bought some additional security cameras for the house. So what am I doing? I'm panicking, and I'm doing a shoot.
The fact that you really sit there and you're talking to the cop, I mean the investigator, and in the back of your head you think you're really gonna get away with it, it's crazy. These people are trained to investigate things, to look at things that are not even supposed to be looked at. To why in the world, why in God's green earth do you think you're gonna get away with something like that? It doesn't make sense to me at all. I sometimes I just think these people are just possessed.
Oh, protect my wife. So I'm not doing good.
I can see that. So with that being, I know that Christine, we put her car on a lift on Tuesday afternoon to see if there's any sort of GPS tracking or anything like that. We couldn't find anything on the car. If Anthony is watching you guys, it's going to be in person from a distance or nearby or however. So that poses an interesting issue in itself.
From Daniel's reactions, it's clear the stalking is taking a toll on him, too. His wife is terrified, his family feels haunted, and he's struggling to understand how any of this is happening. Detective Martinez wraps up the interview, but something Daniel said lingers in the back of his mind. He revealed that he didn't know about the stalking for almost a month, not until Crystal finally showed him the email with the photo taken outside his workplace. So Martinez decides to look deeper into the family dynamic, and what he finds is concerning. He learns that the couple have been going through a rough patch recently. Nothing hostile or dangerous, but they were trying to work things out, doing what they believed was best for their kids and holding their family together the best they could. With how much the stalker seems to know about their lives, Martinez briefly wonders if someone inside the home might be manipulating the situation. And for a moment, he even considers the possibility that Daniel might be messing with his wife as some twisted way of trying to fix their marriage. But that idea is quickly dismissed. There is no evidence backing any of it, and all signs still point to Anthony. Not to mention, Crystal herself is fully convinced her ex is behind the stalking campaign. Throughout November, the harassment continues to escalate with more messages and threats. Crystal continues documenting everything and constantly monitors her cameras. By early December, she finally receives a message that gives her the smallest breath of air. Hey, gorgeous. I can't visit you anymore. No more Colorado time. My girlfriend doesn't want us talking without her. She says you'll let the cops get me after you get rid of him. For the first time in weeks, Crystal and her family feel a brief sense of relief. It sounds like Anthony is backing off, maybe even leaving the state. But in reality, this is just the stalker's final move to make them drop their guard before he strikes. The day starts like every other day. Daniel leaves for work, while Crystal heads out to drop the kids off at school. During those minutes, someone approaches the front door, tapes over the Ring doorbell camera, and slips inside the house. Minutes later, Crystal drives back home, pulls into the garage, and steps out of the car. She has no idea someone is waiting for her inside,
Oh
and the
my
moment
god,
she closes the front
bro.
door, he attacks. The stalker strikes Crystal in the head, stabs her, and leaves her bleeding on the floor. After months of plotting, this is the moment he'd been waiting for. Later that morning, Daniel tries calling Crystal from his office, but she doesn't answer or
Bastard,
respond to
man.
texts. Hours pass, and there's still no sign of her, so Daniel finally decides to call police.
Hi there. My name is Dan Krug. I don't think this is an emergency, but this feels really weird. Okay. My wife isn't responding to text messages or phone calls. Okay. We've had threats against us. We have both been targeted by a stalker. Threats have been made against
It is
my
pissing me
wife,
off.
and threatening to like kidnap her, which is why I'm nervous that she's not answering.
Within minutes of Daniel's call, an officer is dispatched to the Krug residence to check on Crystal. At the same time, Daniel also calls Crystal's mother, asking her to go check on her daughter, sending her straight into the worst moment of her life. While she makes her way there, the officer reaches the house first.
Hello.
Oh, I was just, I'm their neighbor, and they called me. Like, can you go see if she'll answer the
Oh yeah, he sent us as well. So
Yeah, I'm like,
just next door. Okay.
right, well, you got this.
All righty, man. Appreciate it.
The house looks quiet, and the officer doesn't notice anything wrong from the outside. But before he clears the call and drives off, something nags at him. So he brings his patrol car a little closer to check the garage, where he's about to uncover a tragic, horrifying sight.
Oh.
As the officer leans in for a closer look, he spots a body lying on the floor, motionless, with blood smeared across the wall.
151, send medical, and 110, I need a 4 sentry. Got a female down in the garage. Brookfield Police! Brookfield Police! Oh, shit. Holy shit.
The officer steps into the garage to find Crystal with what looks like a severe head injury, so he immediately begins performing CPR, working on her for several moments with no success before opening the garage door to give medics access. But instead of paramedics, someone else soon arrives.
Garage is open now. Hello, ma'am. I need you to stay out, please.
Bro, this is one thing as a parent. I mean, I'm not one yet, but I don't think any parent would want to see something like this. Have to bury their own kid, man. And having to see your child like that, I don't know what it feels like, to be honest. And any parent out there, if you've had to experience something like this, I'm really sorry. You know, praying for you and your family. I hope you guys and just Crystal's family, man. I'm so sorry this happened to you and the kids. I really don't. I don't think I'll be able to leave knowing that my child, the trauma. I'm not sure, to be honest. And let's not even talk about the husband, man. Let me know.
Tragically, as the garage door is lifted to get medics in, Crystal's mother catches a brief glimpse inside, just long enough to see an officer performing CPR on her daughter. Before she can process what she's seeing, another officer quickly arrives to shield her from this nightmare.
Bam! I need you to come over here for a minute, okay? So we can work. I understand. I need you to come on over here, okay? I know. Do me a favor. Go and sit inside so we can work on her, okay? So we can try to get her the help, okay? What's your name? Linda? Okay. My name's Officer Zamora, okay? I'll come out here and I'll give you some news as soon as I can. Awesome. Okay. I have no idea just yet, but I know that they're working on her. The officer in there has been working CPR on her, and I think she's doing okay? He did. He's the one that called us and let us know, okay? Go ahead, take a seat for a minute. I'll be right back here, okay? Get a tag out, man. She's got a head wound. I don't know if it's from falling or something else, but probably falling, but I don't know, man. It's a good one. Husband said there was a stalker threatening to kidnap her, so I don't know. No, she's unresponsive. Decent head wound. Where we have 4-room and patient.
While medics continue working on Crystal inside the garage, an officer stands outside reassuring a distressed woman who's just arrived, unaware that this is Crystal's mother. She's shaken and terrified by the horrors she witnessed inside the garage. Linda would later learn that none of this was random, and finding her daughter like this was always part of a twisted plan. Back inside the garage, medics keep working, still trying to revive Crystal, not yet aware of the fatal wound hidden beneath her clothing.
Oh my god.
Have you seen anything other than a fall type of wound? What's that? Yeah, just. So, shit. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a stab wound. That's right, it's ready. Damn it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, how her the dispatch could tell us the husband called in to check on her. I don't know right now, but dispatch should have it. So we have a visible stab. Yes. Yes. Right above her heart. Okay, then let's erase systolic. Yes. Yep. Jeremy, are you good with this, or are you? How recent is this done? Because if this husband said he couldn't reach her for transport, we don't know if it's within 10 minutes, man. Okay, then, yeah. Husband has not been able to reach her by any means for a few hours. For a few hours, yeah. Stab wound to chest. Let Henry know that.
Medics work for only a few minutes before realizing there's nothing more they can do. Beside Crystal's body, tucked inside her purse, the officer notices a handgun she'd never even had time to reach for. With the immediate area secure, officers spread out throughout the house, searching every room for the attacker, but no one is inside. And as officers step outside the home, they start noticing small details that don't line up with an impulsive crime.
Yeah, I don't know the backstory. My husband said there was a dude who's been stalking her and threatened to kidnap her. And Martinez was involved, and Martinez just said, "Hey, this is a big old." I don't know, dude. I don't know the history on that part. Martinez does though, and he said he's coming in. So other than that, we're just kind of securing the scene and waiting for detectives, see what they need. I kicked that. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that is very interesting. Almost like dude might have stuck around from this way and.
I wonder if maybe the door was locked. That's how he got in.
You know what, dude? You know what? I don't know. I picked it and it went pretty easy. So I'm going to say no deadbolt.
It wasn't deadbolted. It was just handle was locked.
I saw her, came around, booted it.
Officers quickly confirmed the door was unlocked, and a strip of blue tape had been placed over the Ring doorbell camera. Whoever did this clearly planned it and came prepared. As police continue searching the scene, more family members begin arriving one by one, each of them unknowingly walking into the worst moment of their lives, while officers prepare to deliver the news no family ever wants to hear.
Survivor? I don't know anything just yet, ma'am. I don't know anything just yet. Are you?
Her mom. Family friend.
Family friend?
Family friend from down the street. Because we house there.
Okay.
Sure, come knock on the door.
Okay. Is her husband almost here?
Is she gone?
We want to give you guys all the information all together. We don't want to have to repeat the information over and over for you guys to continue anything. So
Said he was on. What did we do to her? What they won't say. They won't say. They figured out. Oh my gosh.
Oh, to be a cop in this situation, you gotta be mentally strong, bro. Like the cops, the things they see every day. You gotta give them props. Standing there watching a family cry like this, and there's nothing you can do. I don't think I'll be able to live with myself, to be honest.
Who's in charge of the doctor? I'd like to know what happened. Absolutely. And as soon as someone frees up who can tell you, I'll send them your way, okay? Our son's on his way. Is this your daughter, sir, or your daughter-in-law? Those are my daughters. This is your daughter, and so her brother is on his way.
Something is off here. It looks like they do not have a good relationship. This boy I mean, this man and Crystal's dad, they just look at the relate. It just looks weird. I don't know, but that's just something I noticed.
With Crystal's father and brother now at the scene, the weight of what's happened settles over the family and it grows heavier by the minute. The only person missing is Crystal's husband, Daniel, the man who feared he wouldn't be able to protect her for weeks. Now he's on his way to find out those fears have come true. As they wait for him, detectives arrive at the scene and begin coordinating their next steps to hunt down whoever did this. Little do they know, the killer they're looking for is still in the area, much closer than they think.
So I pulled my car around to the garage just to see if her car was in the garage. And I immediately saw her at the base of the stairs, blood smear on the wall. I came around and booted the front door. Turns out it wasn't locked. There's also a piece of masking tape over the ring camera, almost like somebody approached from the side and taped it. There. And then maybe she opened the door for somebody. First thing I noticed was an obvious head wound. They noticed after tearing the shirt and everything off, the stab right there. So that's what we got. Husband should be here any minute.
Okay, so I need another detective up here to start working with canvassing. I need you to stay here, and Martinez is coming here, so he'll be good with that. I want you and Martinez to work on this. I'm going to give, and then
working on the stocking.
yeah. But we got to be careful. We have to be careful. We don't know. Anybody that's here is still suspect, so we need to be sure that we stay focused on that.
Yep.
As investigators discuss plans to interview Crystal's family and her husband Daniel, he arrives on scene, cutting the conversation short. And right away, he makes it clear to everyone that he's nothing more than a devastated victim, overwhelmed by what's happened to his wife.
Okay, I need you to stay back, sir. I understand. I need you to stay back here. Family's over here. Family's over here.
And then questions right now. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of answers for you. But I know what you want to do right now. He's wonderful.
What could have said? Someone leave me over there.
At this time, officers have no reason to suspect Daniel of anything, so they treat him with care as he goes through this traumatic moment. But beneath that devastation,
Look at this man, bro. Look at this evil prick.
lies a cold, heartless man, because Daniel knows exactly what happened inside that garage, and Daniel is the killer himself. Every tear and shaking breath is part of his act, one he will continue selling to police and Crystal's family standing just a few feet away.
Subjecting a family to this type of pain and you're doing this, you got a special place in hell. You fucking. I'm just messing up my. Oh my god, bro. Supposed to protect her.
They're not gonna say, no, this is anything. However, we don't tell. This is a family matter. We're just going to figure out a reunification. Make sure that it's
As this tragedy unfolds, Crystal's mother embraces Daniel, trying to comfort him, having no idea the man she's holding is the one who murdered her daughter. Unfortunately for officers, the hardest part of the job still isn't over. As the family grieves outside the home, a detective is sent to the school to pick up Crystal's children, who
Oh
still
my
have no
God.
idea what happened to their mother. When the detective finds Crystal's eldest daughter, she's already shaken. She's been watching the live camera feed on her phone and saw enough to know something terrible happened. But what she tells the detective next is what truly alarms her. Her mother's stalker has been hinting at something far darker recently, and he might have deadly plans for the rest of the family.
My phone notified me of my house cameras going off. There was police at my house and an ambulance, and there was a stretcher. I couldn't bring myself to see who was on there, so I call my mom and dad. My dad picks up and he's crying.
They're probably about 7 minutes away. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, something happened. Okay. That's why you're here. Okay.
You know,
I do, but I can't. I'm not gonna tell you. Okay. Because we're still actively investigating what's going on out there. So I don't want to give you wrong information. That's the last thing I want to do. Okay. What has been going on at home?
So this dude has been threatening my mom, stalking her, taking photos of my dad, saying that he's going to kill him.
Who do we know who this person is?
One of her ex. I don't know his name.
Like an ex-boyfriend or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they broke up a while ago. They ended it as friends. So this has all come to a really big shock to her. And then so he's been contacting her from different numbers, sending pictures of my dad, saying he's gonna kill them. He hasn't mentioned anything about me and my siblings yet, which is good. He's like he posted something to a website, trying to recruit guys to like help him with whatever plan he's doing. And he's like,
Okay, this is what I don't get. You are a parent and you put your kids through this. Like you really sat down and you had this amazing plan. And the plan was to put your kids through this. To kill their mom. Do you even care about your own kids at all? Do you even care about anything?
You guys learn about that?
he's been contacting my mom through all of this. So my mom has contacted the police, and she has like a whole bunch of people on the case. But the thing is, he's making it sound like she's helping him, and she's not. And so,
Helping him like try to kill your dad?
yeah. And so like we're afraid that the police are
Helping him.
But the thing is, he's making it sound like she's helping him. But the thing is, contacted the police, and she has like a whole bunch of people on the case. But the thing is, he's making it sound like she's helping him, and she's not. And so,
Helping him like try to kill your dad?
yeah. And so like we're afraid that the police are gonna turn on him.
Okay.
And so she's been trying to protect herself.
What Crystal's daughter reveals isn't just alarming, it's sickening. Because this so-called stalker isn't just threatening the family, he's twisting the narrative inside their home. He's making it look like Crystal was secretly working with him to kill Daniel, manipulating the kids into believing their own mother is dangerous while positioning Daniel as the helpless target who needs protection. To the kids, their mother starts to look untrustworthy. To detectives, Daniel starts to look like a victim, and to the stalker, everything is going exactly according to plan. It's a disturbing, genius level of premeditation, carried out by a man willing to use anyone, even his own children. The detective logs this information and coordinates with Crystal's sister-in-law, Kate, to get the children safely out of the school. Back at the crime scene, detectives continue their work. They canvass the neighborhood, speak with neighbors, and begin collecting every CCTV clip they can find to reconstruct the killer's movements. By this point, there's enough evidence tying Crystal's ex-boyfriend Anthony to months of harassment, allowing police to obtain a nationwide arrest warrant for stalking. Departments across the country are notified to be on the lookout for him. Additionally, with a homicide on their hands and a killer on the loose, investigators can escalate the case and issue exigent circumstance warrants to service providers to finally speed up the digital data they've been waiting on. If Martinez received those files weeks earlier, things might have been very different. In the meantime, Daniel, along with the rest of the family, is taken to the police station for formal interviews. At this stage, it's standard procedure, and investigators are simply looking to collect statements. But about 2 hours later, when detectives finally sit down with Daniel, his routine interview will begin to take a very different turn.
So, your home security system, you access that through your personal phone? Google Nest. Google Nest. Okay. Hi. This thing me. Okay. Just a home. Home. Okay. So I have your permission to operate this phone and get what we need? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how many different cameras do you have? 4. Doorbell. Side of the house, driveway, back door. How long have you had it? Doorbell, a couple years. The others, all since September. Right. We had an intruder. I called the police. He came when we had a garage intruder.
A month after Daniel reported the garage intruder back in September is when the stalking first began. And by then, the couple had already installed multiple cameras around the house, plus their Ring doorbell. But even with all that security, and after police confirmed they had no GPS trackers on their cars, the stalker still found a way to follow them, sending Crystal a photo of Daniel walking into work and texting her about seeing her at the dentist. So as the detective scrolls through the surveillance footage to understand the timeline, he notices something strange that catches Daniel off guard.
So when do your cameras go off? You ever have them set to turn off? 24/7. Okay. They don't turn off. If you lose internet or in the app, you can turn them off. And who has the ability to turn off the cameras? Who has the ability to go in the app and turn things off? Lucille, me, and All right. It's all right. All right, yeah. Home shows all 4. Oh, and perfect. Home. I can settings. Okay. Oh, just us. Just yes. Okay.
The detective's question here isn't by chance. It's prompted by something peculiar he noticed on the surveillance app. All of the home's cameras shut off at 8:15 a.m. and they stay off until 10:15 a.m.
That
Only the
acting is horrible.
outside the garage remains active during that entire 2-hour window. This instantly narrows the murder time frame to those 2 hours. Just then, Martinez finally arrives at the interview room. He's the lead detective who's been handling Crystal's stalking case for months, and now that case has become something far worse. He sits down with her devastated husband, feeling the weight of the loss they both couldn't prevent. They didn't save Crystal, they couldn't protect her, and now they're here, mourning her loss, trying to piece together what happened.
That girl. That's
His acting is so trash, bro. And he's actually pissing me off.
Sorry, I didn't answer. Actually wasn't in today.
As Daniel breaks down, something catches Martinez's attention. Daniel is crying, but there are no tears. The detective finds it strange and more than a little concerning. Wanting to probe deeper, Martinez asks for a moment alone with Daniel to see what's really going on beneath the surface. And the moment he starts asking questions, things get heated. fast.
I know you said that you don't think that there was somebody else. Why do you think that's? I'm just trying to put everything together to kind of get a bigger picture because you said that she's been acting kind of weird lately and being very secretive and withholding information for you. So I'm just trying to understand, I guess, so we can backtrack what she's been doing this past month.
Martinez's question here is telling of what he's thinking. He's not ruling out Daniel as a possible suspect. After all, the couple were going through a separation period, and this is meant to probe whether jealousy or something else could have played a role in Crystal's death. Sensing the tension in Daniel's response, the detective decides not to press any further. But as they step out for a quick break, Daniel says something that makes it obvious he struck a nerve.
I've seen enough movies. It's always the husband. I get it.
After detectives collect the initial information from Daniel, his children finally arrive at the police department. They still don't know what happened to their mother, only that something is very, very wrong. Daniel is notified of their arrival and given a choice. Should he be the one to tell them, or leave it to officers and Crystal's family? Instead of letting someone else deliver the news, Daniel insists on telling them himself. A decision that appears compassionate on the surface, but underneath, it's a way for him to control the narrative and shape how his children see him, even in a moment of tragedy. Following this, investigators sit down with Crystal's family to begin their interviews, and this is where things start to take a concerning turn. Up until now, the case seems straightforward. Crystal has a stalker, her ex-boyfriend Anthony. That stalker killed her. Find Anthony, and you find Crystal's killer. But once detectives start speaking to Crystal's parents...
One thing I'm still not getting here is when it comes to you trying to make this, oh, this person killed this person, it needs to be pinned to that location. Every record, that traveling record needs to show that they traveled to that location. So if you're trying to pin Anthony as the killer, which if they were to track him down, there's not going to be any evidence or record to show that he was in the area. What is your plan? Are you planning to kill Anthony himself so that there shouldn't be any evidence or any witness or anything? What was his plan? Because that is so stupid. This is what I'm thinking, because if you are trying to pin Anthony as the killer, it's not going to be traced to the location. Nothing is going to prove that he was there because he wasn't there.
Brother and sister-in-law, things become far more complicated. And what they learn next will force them to reconsider everything they think they know about Crystal, her marriage, and even her stalker.
So you're understanding, I guess, of their, it's the ex-husband who's been kind of. It's not husband, it's an ex-husband from when she was 18 years old. Gotcha. And you think there's any, I guess, recent, is he reached out to you? Have you seen any? No, he's never contacted me. Residents told me that he had messaged her again 2 days ago or so. Let her know that was.
You just lost your daughter. And the one thing that you need to be doing, which is mourning your daughter, you're sitting here and answering questions. Why? Because the husband, for whatever sick reason, decided to kill her. Oh my God. People are evil, bro.
I need to go back in that. So she can go live off her husband now. Make it look like she was in on this whole deal with killing her husband, I guess.
Do you think there's anything doesn't feel right, doesn't seem right, something that I don't know, you just feel like might be important to our investigation?
I don't know. Like I know that Christina was like very concerned and worried about this guy, and I just always felt like it was like there was something weird about it, like that I can't put my finger on it. It just feel like she had said that it was like this Anthony guy, but
that it seemed very different than past behavior in him, like that he was never sexual in the past, and that these were like very like hypersexual things. And so I think even at one point she was like questioning whether it was actually him.
I don't know if you necessarily know anything more about that, but yeah, it's also just kind of mentioned you guys are kind of close. You just see if there'd be some sort of insight on that at all. Insight on their marriage, or just was there issues going on? Were they having problems? Was there kind of anything that was kind of? She had shared with me that they had separated. Okay. But we're still living together a year ago, and I had asked her if she over text if she had if she believed that it was Anthony, but she didn't believe at the time that I was asking her that it was anybody but Anthony. She was fully convinced that it was Anthony. Okay. My mom has always been like suspicious, and I just like don't know where that comes from. Okay.
Can you elaborate?
Mother's instinct.
Suspicious how or
My mom?
yeah.
I don't know, because it's like the difficulty finding Anthony. Like, why is it so hard to find Anthony? Why can't either, it's her IP stuff?
Exactly.
And that frustration. And so I think her mind starts to wander towards like conspiracy type things, right? Of like, oh, maybe it's the husband or maybe it's Dan. And I don't know. I don't see it there just because, I don't know. Dan just seems so incapable of doing something like that to me. Why do you say that? Just I don't know. I talked to him, and him and I just hung out and talked for like 2 hours. And he was like very concerned about like getting his family together and talking about being vigilant but not paranoid.
Even though Crystal's brother Lars sounds skeptical of his mother's suspicions, she isn't exactly wrong, as, on the surface, it makes no sense that Anthony couldn't be tracked down for months. Lars would also go on to explain that Crystal and Daniel saw their marriage very differently. Crystal wanted out, Daniel didn't, and the family seemed to view their relationship as dysfunctional but not violent. But listening to these statements, one thing becomes very clear. Every family member felt that something about the stalker was off. There was a shared intuition they couldn't quite articulate, and when detectives sit down with Crystal's mother, she makes that suspicion very clear.
I know you said, and I kind of learned on seeing that she was married, had 3 children. And I was, oh, it's months and last year. Her husband and her were not in good terms. He was in complete denial. She told me how he was. She ever give you insight on what kind of led her to feel like her marriage was over, or explosive? But I've never seen him, hurt her. He would hurt the kids, but some people think corporal punishment is to take the kids. But he would hurt the kids. She was worried about that. I don't want to say this again. But she told me he was in denial, but she told him his marriage was over, but she would stay. So, graduated. I have this gut I can't shake him. What's that feeling telling you? I can't shake this question. Is he the one that's been doing this with Anthony?
Needless to say, hinting that Daniel might somehow be involved with the stalker is an alarming accusation, and it makes
Mothers,
things even
man.
more complicated for the detective.
Mothers. That motherly instinct, bro. And I'm sure she's probably gonna be now grieving and just asking herself, why did she let it go this far? She should have saved that daughter. And this is again, I've said it multiple times on here. If it's not working, leave. You don't need to stay for the kids. You'll be a better parent or parent to your kids if you're happy. You cannot be a better parent to your kids if you're not happy. So please, if it's not working, leave. Anybody, I've said it multiple times on my channel. If it's not working, leave. Because the kids are going to be okay. If you are happy, your kids are going to be okay.
detectives. At this point, the family itself is split. Crystal's brother Lars completely dismisses the idea that Daniel could be involved, calling it nothing more than a conspiracy. But others felt that there was something off about Anthony and the entire stalking agenda. With all statements collected, detectives wrap the family interviews and regroup to make sense of everything they've gathered. By combining everything they've learned, detectives land on a clearer picture of where the investigation now stands. The family interviews raised enough concern, and there was enough tension in the marriage that detectives decide they can't rule out Daniel yet, and he officially becomes a potential suspect. But even with Daniel now on the radar, Anthony remains as the obvious prime suspect in Crystal's homicide. His threats and weeks-long stalking campaign still place him at the center of the investigation. With that in mind, detectives know their next move. It's time to find Anthony. At around 3 p.m. that afternoon, police finally get their first real break in months. After digging through everything they have on Anthony Holland, investigators land on a possible address in Utah. Because they can't reach him themselves, Broomfield detectives coordinate with Utah County Sheriff's Office, sharing his name, photo, and the address where he's believed to be staying. Up until now, Anthony has only existed as a name in emails and threats. A distant figure who no one has actually seen. So when officers finally get a hit on his location, it becomes the first real chance to confront the man they've been hunting for months.
I'm going to ask you a couple of names to see if you recognize any names.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the name Crystal Krug? She may have been Grimsrod when you knew her.
Yeah.
And do you know a Daniel Krug?
No.
No? How do you know Crystal?
She was an ex-girlfriend.
She's an ex-girlfriend? How long the ex? Like, how long ago?
You see how, listen, bro, anybody with a brain would have just picked this guy's not the killer, because he is he is referring to her as an ex-girlfriend. She is an ex-girlfriend. He is not saying she was an ex-girlfriend. She is an ex-girlfriend. So just saying that is already saying, oh, she's still alive, right? She's still alive. So this is already a waste of time.
1999.
Oh, so like a long while ago.
It was my very first girlfriend ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When's the last time you talked to Crystal? Has it been a minute?
It's been a minute.
Like since you moved from Durango?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been what, back in 2014?
Yeah.
Have you had any contact with anybody in that area since? Anybody, or have they contacted you at any time?
No.
I'm going to give you a phone number, and it's to a sergeant with the Broomfield Police Department.
Okay.
He would like you to reach out and talk to him.
All right.
They have an incident. I don't know the full details of their incident out there, and so I'll let him talk to you about that aspect. He had asked us to come out here to your house and talk with you. They were debating on, you do have an active warrant out of Broomfield Police Department, and they were debating on if they were going to have us arrest you or not. They are not going to have us arrest you on it. I'm going to advise you of the fact that you do have a warrant out of Colorado, and you can talk to this sergeant about the details of it. That makes sense?
As officers speak with Anthony, he appears intoxicated and confused. After being briefed on the situation, he gives his timeline, insisting he never left Utah and spent the morning with family nowhere near Colorado. Once they collect Anthony's statement, Utah officers leave to begin verifying every part of his story. In the meantime, detectives back in Colorado regroup to reassess the investigation. With Anthony still denying involvement, Detective Martinez turns back to the one angle he hasn't fully explored yet: Crystal's husband, Daniel. Since he never ruled out jealousy or affairs as a possible motive, he decides to dig deeper into Daniel's past. And that's when he stumbles onto something interesting and very unsettling. While searching old reports, Martinez finds a closed but unresolved stalking complaint from years earlier. The victim who filed it is a woman named Carrie, and as it turns out, she was Daniel's ex-girlfriend. The more Martinez reviews, the more disturbing the pattern becomes. The report claims she was stalked for weeks by an obsessed man who impersonated multiple people, manipulating her through fake identities. Detectives quickly locate Carrie and bring her in for an interview. When they sit down with her, they uncover a story so disturbingly similar to Crystal's, it opens up an entirely new theory.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44. This is a first look at the current industry leading.
I think it was, like I said, a couple months. I broke up with him a couple months into my freshman year, and he, didn't. He was pretty emotional. I would say, sort of desperation would maybe be a word I would use to describe after the breakup of please don't do this, kind of, crying, that sort of thing, that I can recall. And then I started to get messages from his roommate, and that person's name is Tom, on AOL Instant Messenger. And I know Tom is real because they were roommates. If I called him, Tom would sometimes pick up the phone. They had a joint room and a joint phone. Tom, his role, I would say, was sort of to gain sympathy from me for Dan and continue to encourage me to communicate with Dan. There was perhaps some indication that he was, or was, because of the breakup, just really not doing well. So this, made me keep communication up with Dan. And Tom ended up being Dan, right? So all these people I'm going to tell you about end up being Dan Crew, not Tom. Yeah, even though Tom is a real person, he was not sending me these messages.
Suffice it to say, what Carrie tells detectives sounds all too familiar. Everything she describes echoes the same pattern detectives have been seeing with Crystal, but the parallels don't stop there.
Things I remember is a group of my friends from our dorm had met, I don't even know how, some cadets from the Air Force Academy. Sure. And so we all I think we went to a movie, something super innocuous, and there was like a group of us. I must have told Dan about that. And I think it was 2 or 3 days later, I got a message from someone named Nick Clark. And Nick basically said, I'm a cadet at the Air Force Academy. I know you went out with these people, and I want you to know that he came back, or these people came back and said that you slept with him. So now there's this rumor going around the whole academy that you're an easy target. And Nick, I think, served the purpose of sabotaging anyone I was meeting if they were associated with the Air Force Academy. Of course, the person that I met and went to the movies with was like, I want nothing to do with you, you weirdo. So shortly, I don't know, a while after that, I started actually more seriously dating Air Force cadet named Mark Hansen. Then, of course, Nick Clark made a reappearance, and I was getting pretty consistent messages from him. And so he said, we need to find out who's doing this. And he got me a meeting with the Office of Special Investigations at the Air Force Academy. I sat with them, and they kind of laid the emails out on the table, and they said, we've had like a forensic psychologist, sort of professional, look at all these emails. And it's Dan, is what they said.
Carrie would go on to explain that despite their suspicions, there was never enough evidence tying Daniel back to the messages she received then. Everything had been sent from a public library, and because of that, her accusations remained just that, suspicions. But even without proof, the similarities between the two women's experiences are impossible to ignore. And for the first time, detectives begin considering a fourth possibility they never imagined. What if Daniel has been playing everyone? What if he's been impersonating Anthony? What if he's always been the architect behind the entire stalking campaign? Detective Martinez receives the intel from Carrie's interview, and with that, Daniel officially becomes an equal prime suspect alongside Anthony. At this point, the only thing that can give them a definitive answer is the digital evidence. So while they wait for that, Martinez receives something he can work with immediately: The full set of surveillance footage collected from the neighborhood and Daniel's workplace. Investigators sit down and begin reconstructing the full picture of what happened before Crystal was killed. Shortly before 8 a.m., Crystal arrives home after dropping off the kids. She pulls into the garage, closes the door, and everything looks normal. Minutes later, at 8:15 a.m., the entire security system goes offline. Every camera except the outside garage camera is taken down for the next 2 hours. At 8:25 a.m., that lone camera records something deeply concerning. Daniel leaves the house to go to work later than he normally does, and shortly after the time medical examiners believe Crystal was killed. From there, workplace footage shows Daniel moving through the building around 9 a.m., greeting coworkers and appearing completely normal, as if nothing had happened at home. And when investigators check footage from surrounding houses, they find no one approaching the property all morning. Everything about the timeline makes Daniel look more suspicious by the minute. With all these new developments, detectives bring Daniel back in for another interview. He walks in expecting routine procedural follow-ups, completely unaware of how much has changed since the last time he sat in this room. This is when Daniel's months-long, carefully crafted plan begins to crumble. This time, Detective Martinez walks in with a completely different energy than before. He's no longer feeling Daniel out. He's here with one clear objective: confront him with what's been uncovered and see if his version of events finally breaks.
Oh, how you feeling right now? Just kind of about everything.
No. That will be hurts. But I have two different forces going through my head right now. I have my brother Matthew. Yeah, mentioned him. He's sheriff's lieutenant. And I have his voice saying, talk to the police. Typical college fashion American prosecutor. So I have Lynn's voice in my head going, get a fucking lawyer. I don't know. I just don't want to.
Right away, Daniel doesn't open the interview casually. He opens it with a calculated trick. By hinting at getting a lawyer, he's warning detectives, push too hard, and this interview is over. It's clever, but Martinez has a counterplan. Instead of confronting him, he'll pivot the conversation to his relationship with Crystal, making it feel like safer ground to get Daniel comfortable and talking. But if Daniel had any motive to take Crystal out of the picture, this is where it would surface.
Well, I'm sure, especially when you guys are trying to work together to be safe, keep your family safe, keep your as dysfunctional as it is, you still both have the common goal of keeping it safe, right?
I had her as a partner to protect the family, but it didn't feel like a partner who valued me. And I told her at that point, told her I didn't want to die for someone to care about me anymore.
That's really hard.
I was hurting when I said that. And what I wanted was her to say she cared about me. She did.
Although Daniel is being honest about what was going on in their marriage, to detectives, moments like this only add to their suspicions. Resentment, rejection, a failing marriage, these are all things that, in the wrong circumstances, can turn into a motive. And this is exactly where the interview takes a sharp turn. What Daniel doesn't know yet is that since his last interview, detectives received something they kept secret for this exact moment. One of the tech companies finally responded to their urgent warrants and provided some of the digital data they needed. And as it turns out, the emails the stalker had been sending, the messages that terrorized Crystal for weeks, were coming from somewhere much closer to home.
One of the things that we really started looking into today in an effort to find Anthony is the Gmail. So some of that information that we've been able to receive today is a little bit concerning, I guess.
The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with the photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office.
Doesn't make any sense. Well, he took the photo of me at my office.
But both of those accounts originated from IP addresses that list back to your office.
There are Wi-Fi access throughout the facility for employees, and there's public Wi-Fi access throughout the entire facility.
You are such a yo, bro. You are such a stalker. Like you can't lie for nothing. You are a horrible liar, horrible actor. You are terrible. So it didn't even cross your mind. The IP address, everything, bro. Let's not even go deep into the IP address. Anthony, the person you were trying to frame. Like, are you slow?
Right now, we're working with the director to get all of the IP information to see what devices were using that specific address during that time. Because I guess the biggest concern is just the timing of everything, that it just doesn't quite make sense to have somebody create an account, take a photo, and then immediately send it off, and then the account is no longer being used.
None of this makes sense.
Daniel looks thrown off, unsure where Martinez is going with this. The emails tied to the stalker connect back to Daniel's workplace, a detail he clearly didn't expect detectives to know. He seems nervous, but still cooperative. So detectives decide it's time to push further, because they have something else they withheld from Daniel until now. During the investigation into Anthony's alibi, officers in Utah forwarded something small but important. A time-stamped shopping receipt placing Anthony in Utah that morning, miles away from Colorado at the time Crystal was killed. Martinez and his partner decide it's the perfect time to see how Daniel reacts when they push him directly and force him to confront the possibility that he might be the stalker.
Also, let's add on top of that the fact that there's, as far as we know right now, there's no physical way that Kickman could have been involved in this based on where he's at right now. So, you know, the mystery continues, and
yes,
things are certainly pointing in one direction. Things are certainly pointing in one direction.
Duh.
And you've given us reason. Here's the other thing, Daniel, is I sympathize with the fact that you're in an extremely frustrating situation. I know you want to be a part of your kids' lives, but you can also sense that's why we're asking all these questions about infidelity and everything else. Is there some other mystery man that we don't know about?
Period. You know, Anthony has reached out to her in the past, number of times. Right. The last time was 2016-ish. He had asked her at one point if she wanted to have sex. If there's any bit of question about infidelity, whether it's with Anthony or anybody else, we might create an account to see if Christine's actually interested in Anthony. So we ask her, push the bounds a little bit, see if that will confirm our suspicions of infidelity. You don't get the response and the openness you once did for about 28 days, from October 2nd to October 31st. So you amp it up a little bit. Send a photo of yourself to her, an account you created.
I get it together, but it alleges them to do this.
But I think ultimately what happened today would bring you the closest to your children that you probably ever been in your mind.
I'm very close to
And you're afraid to lose time with them if you get the divorce.
Clearly, detectives managed to perfectly articulate Daniel's reality, one he may not have even fully admitted to himself. He is a man so terrified of losing his children, so desperate to stay in control of his family, that he would do anything if he felt it slipping away, even if it meant murder. The detective's brutal honesty leaves Daniel speechless. He doesn't.
I've always said it, bro. Like the things people do because they love you are out of this world. People will go crazy, crazy lengths, distance, just to do things because they love you. They might even go as deep as what he. Ay, ay, ay.
Argue or deny it. He just sits there in quiet resignation, wearing the look of someone who's realizing everyone can see straight through his lies.
If you were watching these facts unfold in front of you in a movie, what would you say happened? That was able to turn off the cameras, that was able to use your IP address from your work to create accounts, to send messages and photos, to act as a stalking suspect.
No, I'm not one who does this. I'm analytical at work, and I read and write fiction at home. I don't do crime drama. I don't know what this is.
Kickman is 6.5 hour drive. And then, in fact, he was contacted in his house, severely intoxicated. There's no way he could have made that drive.
All this time, you've been looking for him as a protection. You just found him today, like that.
You've been chasing the dog.
Sounds like you're accused.
We have a lot of information that points your direction, and we were hoping that you could provide explanation other than it wasn't me.
I don't have a narrative story like because I thought we were on the same side.
Well, what would you think, or what would you say if we told you that other people you talked to that are close to your wife expressed that she had maybe told them that she suspected you of
She said that right to my face, that she wanted to know if it was me. I told her no.
But I think there's more to the story. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not adding up. I'd like to know what happened this morning. I'd like to know what caused you to get so upset to hurt your wife, because I believe that's what happened.
Well, I want to know what happened.
We haven't been there to know. There's only one person in this room that can tell us.
I think you got confirmation or found out that she had a boyfriend this morning, or something happened that pissed you off, and you did something that you regret now because you can't go back.
I've answered all your questions that I get. You have your theory. It's fine. You're done.
As calm as he's been this entire interview, Daniel finally decides he's had enough and drops the act. His story has crumbled. Detectives see straight through his lies, and he knows it. With nothing left to cling to, Daniel quietly asks for an attorney, and the interview comes to an end. Even though he continues insisting he's innocent, there's one detail Daniel admits on his own. One no one even knew about until now. Crystal herself confronted him about being the stalker. Hearing that from Daniel's own mouth hits Martinez hard, because to him, that sounds like the kind of confrontation that could have pushed everything over the edge. But without hard proof, detectives can't yet say Daniel is truly responsible. So with the interview over, Daniel is processed for physical evidence and escorted out of the police station. But before he leaves, he turns back and tells detectives one final thing.
Because I don't. You don't believe that? Fine. Just don't stop looking elsewhere. So, okay. Fine. Fucker. Are you married? Kids? Divorced? Red line. I don't care if you capture I just motherfucker today. He took my children's mother.
Acting is horrible, man. Your acting is terrible.
Over the next 2 days, the case becomes the department's top priority. Every available officer is working on it, and this is when the investigation finally begins to break wide open. Officers in Utah finally finish verifying Anthony's alibi. They find surveillance footage showing him in Utah at the time of Crystal's murder, and there are no travel records or license plate pings placing him anywhere near Colorado. Then, the last of the digital evidence arrives, and this time, it's overwhelming. The burner phones used to send the threatening messages to Crystal were purchased with a Visa gift card registered under Daniel Krug's name, and cell tower records show those burner phones were always in the same location as Daniel's personal phone, meaning he was carrying both devices at the same time. And then comes the final blow. Detectives uncovered Daniel's Google searches from the night before the murder. How hard would you have to hit someone in the head to make them unconscious? When is a head injury a cause for concern? Piece by piece, the picture comes together. There's no Anthony. There's no mysterious stalker. It's always been just Daniel. Detectives now understand exactly what happened. Daniel created the entire stalking persona in a twisted attempt to regain control of his failing marriage. And when Crystal began to suspect the truth, Daniel killed her to cover it up. On December 16th, an arrest warrant is issued for Daniel Krug. Officers are dispatched immediately, finding him on his way to his daughter's dance performance. As patrol units close in, Daniel's movements strike them as suspicious. He appears to be heading back towards his car, and officers believe he may be trying to get away.
This is a detective. Get him out. Go. Just get right. All right, we're coming up from the front. Just get up and bump back. No, fuck. Go. Just go. 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 Show us your hands. Show us your hands. Your hands on your face. When you're ready.
Daniel Krug is taken into custody without incident.
Come on.
The weeks that follow, police finish their work. The digital forensic evidence, the surveillance timeline, the phone data, all of it leads back to the same person. Investigators become certain that Daniel Krug acted alone. He created a fake stalker, framed an ex-boyfriend, manipulated his wife, his children, and law enforcement. Before the case reaches trial, Daniel formally pleads not guilty. In April of 2025, his case moves into the courtroom. The story prosecutors present is devastatingly clear.
This was about Dan losing control. He was not in love with Christelle, and that resentment had turned to rage by the time we get to December 14th. Think about what he did to her. You don't do that to somebody you love. Think about the absolute nightmare and hell that he made.
Yeah, that's what people do when you want to have control over someone, and once they feel like they're losing control, they're capable of doing terrible things to gain that control back. They're like narcissists. This is the extreme. This is bad. I I hope they're gonna give him the injection. I'm telling you, I hope that's what they're gonna give him, because that is crazy. Now your kids are gonna grow up with no parent. Why? Because you think the world revolves around you. You want everything to be about you. You can't even see the bigger picture. You have kids now. You have kids now. But you are so self-centered to the point where you think everything is about you. If you do not have control over your wife, you're not going to function anymore. And you go ahead to do something like this. Now your kids are going to be without their mom, and their dad is not going to be there. How selfish of you.
The last few months of her life.
On the other hand, Daniel's defense argues that there was no physical evidence placing him at the crime scene and that he could not have been the killer.
We know the physical evidence. And there is an enormous disconnect between that and the circumstantial picture that the prosecution wants you to believe. Mr. Krug.
Again, I don't understand how you are another human being. This lawyers that, like, you are a lawyer, bro. You know exactly what it is. The evidence is right in front of you, and you're still taking a case like this. Are you even human at all? Do you have feelings? Do you care? I know it's a job, but where are your morals? Because you're a lawyer. When you look at a case, you're like, oh yeah, this is not good. I'm not saying people are not. Some people might come out of this situation like innocent. But as a lawyer, everything here points that this man is guilty. And you still go ahead and you take the case.
Did not kill his wife. He did not
ex-wife
these crimes.
After both sides make their case, the jury deliberates for nearly 2 days. And on April 17th, 2025, they return with their verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree.
Come on! Hey man, listen. Again, I've said it multiple times and I'm gonna say it again. If you are in a sticky situation, if you're no longer happy,
Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you
shut up, man. I've said it multiple times. If you're no longer happy in a situation or in whatever place you are, leave. Leave. Okay? Leave. Because things like this are always going to happen. Things like this are always going to happen. And let's try to not, you will never know if someone is possessive or not, but let's try to always pay attention to little details like this. Like the ex came out and said Daniel was this. So you're trying to tell me you never heard the story. Like, there are always going to be hints, clues. Pay attention to those little things. If someone has anger problems and they're not showing any signs of getting rid of the anger or having the anger under control, I'm telling you, that is going to manifest in the long run. Please don't involve yourself with people like this. Stay. Again, we have come to the end of the video. I'm sure you watched the video. Crystal's family, we're praying for you guys. Rest in peace to Crystal, your kids. Wish them nothing but the best. And for Daniel, I hope you know what? God is going to decide your fate. God is going to decide your fate. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for making it this far. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, stay blessed, and always pray. Never forget that. Always pray.